Everybody, welcome to Balkan Moto. Now that we have most of the frame figured out, let's start by filling out this gap here and building the motor. Let's check out what pieces we're going to need to do that. So, based on my 3D model, we're going to need 5 pieces of 2x4 that are 12 centimeters by essentially the 2x4 just cut at 12 centimeters. So we're going to need 5 of those. Those are going to make up the main block of the motor. We're going to need a piece for the back that's going to attach to the brackets. We're going to need a bunch of oddly cut pieces that we're going to make the heads out of. I opted for, instead of buying 4x4s, I'm just going to use 2x4s and sandwich 2 of them together to make something like a 4x4, or a 3x4 rather. And then we're going to need some pieces for the bracket at the top. And the frame bracket as well. So let's start by making the block itself and going from there. Okay, so here we go, some progress. I cut the 5 pieces that are essentially the engine block. This one's going to be at the bottom, and these 4 are essentially going to sit on top like so. So that's the block. Then we have the heads, which are going to fit like this onto it to kind of create that V shape that we have on there. And then we have the center bracket, which will be mounted in the middle. Some screws, boom boom, down like that, and a hole through here for the actual engine mount at the top. Yeah, so that's how far I've gotten. I did change the design of this. This used to be 3 pieces, but now it's a single piece. Much better. What remains is the frame brackets that are going to go on the back, which I believe is a 3x3 by 1. Might change that because these small pieces are a little dangerous to cut. So I might just cut a piece that's kind of the height of 2, like this, and leave it as a 3.81. Yep, and then have the plywood pieces on either side of it. But either way, let's bolt all this stuff together so that we actually have a block. I do still need to drill these to do the exhaust and intakes, and hopefully they won't crack as I do that, because I already broke one by trying to screw it in. We'll go from there. Okay, here's the main part of the block, and the headers are going to go on like so. So if we just prop that up, the motor is going to look like this. And we just need to drill the tops of the heads so we can put the exhaust and intakes on. But yeah, let's measure those out and drill them out. Okay, now that everything's bolted, I bored out the heads, so they're going to be like this. And for what goes in them, we're going to have these union joints that essentially allow us to, with a little piece of PVC pipe or ABC pipe, ABS, whatever it is, we can join them. And essentially we have our heads like this. So on one side we can put the intake, on the other side we can put the exhaust and screw it on as such. Okay, so next let's attach these bad boys to the main block so we can actually have a block. And then we're gonna see how it looks on the bike. And temporarily placing the motor kind of where it's supposed to fit. That's kind of what it's looking like. The exhaust is gonna curve down like this, and then we have another pipe that's gonna go way under. This looks like it's gonna enough clearance, but until we attach it, we won't know. This is as far as the engine will go backwards. I mean, I could slice this off, but I think that should be fine. Okay, so here's the motor as it is assembled. Now, what we're gonna do is I put the rear bracket on and made holes so the top bracket is on. So the motor is actually ready to be mounted into the bike. In terms of the intakes and exhausts, the intakes are just gonna have these caps on them, like this, kind of mimic pod filters. And the motor will fit in here, where this bracket lines up with that bracket with the 4 bolts holding it in place. And once in place, it will look like, and here it is mounted. So I'll give the rider just a bit of foot peg space with this coming kind of in front of the shin. I still need to make the top mounting bracket, and the exhaust would look like this. So we have a bunch more ABC piping, and from here I'm going to do an exhaust pipe. So we'll have 2 of these on either side, and the bike would kind of wrap up looking like this. I may need to come up with some sort of tie to attach the pipe to the bike, just so it doesn't rotate, just because the whole thing seems to rotate. I may or may not just run bolts down this way and just bolt the pipe so it doesn't rotate. But we'll see. That's kind of like later on, more in the finishing stages. Now let's figure out how we're gonna attach the bracket at the top, which should be more or less like the back one here. So 2 pieces of plywood on either side, with a piece of 2x4 in the middle, and go from there. Other than the exhaust and that bracket at the top, the only thing remaining is the radiator that's going to be in here, which is just going to be a piece of plywood. I still have to figure out how large, but let's say something a little bit bigger than this, kind of sitting like that in there. But either way, that's the bike so far. Looks pretty cool. Okay, I added the top bracket, and the motor should fit into it like so. Essentially line it up with the back, line it up with the top. I made the hole a little more elliptical so the lineup is a little better, but either way, that's how the motor gets mounted into the frame. We'll need to get a longer bolt. As you can see, this one's not long enough. We need another centimeter or 2 out of that. Probably need, I mean, we can use these once they have the washers on them. Should be fine. They're a little bit overkill in terms of length. And yeah, then we need to figure out the exhaust. Since the exhaust would be something like this, the main concern is the steering, which if we move the bike sort of flat, as you can see, the tire looks like it's gonna hit, but it actually doesn't. It clears it perfectly. So that's well done. Still need to cut the actual exhaust pipe here. We'll see what kind of length we want to work with. Probably to about here somewhere. Just kind of keep that proportion. And the other thing is the whatchamacallit, the radiator. But first, let's cut off all the little ABS pipe pieces so we can mount things properly, and take a look at what it actually looks like. Okay, and here it is with the exhaust. This is pretty much what the final product shape would look like. I still need to get some more bolts, obviously paint, and the seat and radiator need to be made. There's probably some tweaks that need to be made a little bit here and there, like I do need to put something in place so that the exhaust and intake don't rotate like this. I still need to do the axles, but either way, quite happy with the way this turned out. I also need to weigh the whole thing, because right now I suspect it's around probably what? It's around 30 pounds, so it ain't light, but once the axles are in place and there's no movement there, they should roll pretty nicely. Okay, this will be it for this episode. In the next episode, we're gonna hopefully have the rest of the hardware that I need, and prep things for paint. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit the little bell for notifications when new videos become available. Check me out on Instagram at Balkan Moto 2018, and make sure to check out balkanmoto.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.